If you don't know how your customers find and interact with your brand, you're leaving money on the table. Welcome to Marketing Unzipped, the podcast that breaks down the complexities of digital marketing and makes them work for your business. I'm your host, Rob Curtis, and today we're exploring one of the most critical and often misunderstood aspects of marketing, understanding your customer's journey. So let me set the stage with a bit of a quick question. How do your customers really find you? Think about it. Is it through social media, word of mouth, search engine optimization? And once they found you, how do they interact with your business? What steps do they take before deciding whether to buy or to move on to a competitor? If you're not clear on this process, you're not alone. Many businesses focus on individual marketing tactics, running ads, posts on social media, pieces I've talked about in the past already, or even launching email campaigns, but they fail to see the bigger picture. And the result, it ends up in missed opportunities, wasted time, and most definitely customers falling through the cracks. And in today's episode, we're going to address that by diving deep into what the customer journey is and why it matters, the key touch points that influence your customers' decisions and how to optimize them, and how to map your customer journey step by step to uncover opportunities and fix those gaps. And here's why it's so important, because today's customers expect way more than ever. They want something personalized. They want a seamless experience that guides them effortlessly from interest to purchase. And if your marketing doesn't meet those expectations, someone else, their business will. So grab a cup of coffee, open your iPad notes, and let's get unzipped. So what is the customer journey and why does it matter? I think we need to start with the basics, strip it right back. And simply put, it's the path your customers take as they interact with your brand. But here's the twist. It's not a simple straight line. Forget the idea of a traditional funnel where customers move neatly through from awareness to purchase. Today's customer journey is more like a spider's web, an interconnected series of touch points that guide their decisions. So let me break that down to you in 5 stages. Firstly, we've got awareness. This is a stage where customers first learn about your brand. Maybe they see an ad, hear about you from a friend, or stumble across your website while searching for a solution. Consideration. Here, they're evaluating their options. They might compare your offerings to competitors, read reviews, or dive even deeper into your website. Decision. At this stage, they're obviously ready to buy, but they need that final nudge to feel confident in their choice and making the right decisions. The retention. So that customer journey just doesn't end at the purchase. Retention is about ensuring your customers, they come back for more. And finally, advocacy. This is the creme de la creme, the ultimate goal. Turning happy customers into brand ambassadors who spread the word about your business. And why does this matter? You're probably asking yourselves. It matters because if you don't understand the journey, you're guessing. And as you all know, if you've listened to previous episodes, I like data, I like information. And guessing in marketing often means wasting money. For example, imagine spending thousands on ads that bring in traffic, only to lose potential customers because your website doesn't answer their questions. Understanding the customer journey, it's like having a sat-nav for your marketing. Without it, you're driving blind, hoping to reach your destination. But once you've got the roadmap, you've got the focus on optimizing each step of that journey. And that first step, it starts with understanding the key touch points. And what I mean by touch points is they're moments where your brand and your customer meet. Every single one shapes how they perceive you and whether they'll choose to do business with you. And now that we've covered the customer journey at a really high level, let's zoom in on the moments that matter the most with touch points. Touch points are the interactions your customers have with your brand, whether they're browsing your website, seeing an ad, or reading a review. Each one contributes to how customers feel about your business and the influences their decisions to move forward or walk away. And here's why this matters. Every touch point is another opportunity, whether it's a Facebook post, a customer service call, or the layout of your product page. Each interaction has the potential to build trust or, sadly, break it. But let's break down those key touch points for each stage of the customer journey and how you can optimize them. So firstly, if we take a look at that awareness stage, we want to make a really, really strong first impression. At this stage, your customer is just discovering you. They might not even know they have a problem that you can solve. Your goal here is to grab their attention and create intrigue. Types of things for touch points could be some social media ads, blog content that ranks on Google, word of mouth recommendations, one of my favorites, a bit of PR coverage, or even influencer collaborations. But some of the key things you want to think about during this awareness phase is if your audience can't immediately understand what you do and why it matters to them, they'll move on. You need to make your value proposition obvious. Consistent branding, your visuals, your tone, your messaging should be cohesive across the platforms, whether it's Instagram, your bios, your email headers, or all those sorts of things. I mentioned on a previous podcast about data and Google Analytics and tracking those measurements, and I won't run off with it again too much, but make sure you are. Make sure you're looking into what's working and what's not. But focus on things that if you're creating content for value, don't just track those impressions and clicks. Think about the engagement metrics that show genuine interest. So how much time do they spend on a video view, a page, whatever it is, return visitors, all those sorts of pieces. And then once your audience knows about you, the next step is helping them see why you're the best choice. And that's where the consideration stage comes in. At this stage, your potential customer is doing their research. They've compared your business to others, they've read the reviews, and they're asking themselves, is this the right choice for me? So these could be things either like your product or your service pages on your website, customer reviews on things like Trustpilot, case studies, white papers, email newsletters with useful insights, all these sorts of things where you've built that trust up with them already from awareness. And now we want to show we're a serious part of their buying journey. Some of the key things you can really think about here is leveraging the social proof. So highlight the testimonials, the reviews, success stories, seeing others' positive experiences. They can definitely tip the scales in your favor. This is my favorite about educating your audience. In the nature of what we do, life gets so complicated and there's so much jargon get thrown around. I try to be as simple as I can when it comes in with our conversations, but you can use those blog posts, videos, webinars, educate your audience ultimately, address those common questions, get those things solved as quick as you can. Even creating things like gated content. So offer valuable resources, free guides, checklists in exchange for an email address to allow you to nurture that relationship further. Well, I think I've mentioned this before, but a couple of tools I really like are Hotjar or Crazy Egg. They can help you understand how people interact and how users interact with your site. And it can really help you decide how far, what flow a user should take. And essentially things, if you notice a lot of drop-offs on your product page, for example, or your products pages, you can go and revisit it and take a look and see what that data is and help you refine the copy, imagery, layout, all sorts of things. Once your customer, your potential client feels confident in your offering, they're ready to take that plunge. But the decision stage is where many businesses lose potential buyers. And let's talk about how to optimize that very, very critical moment. In that decision stage, closing the deal is where the magic happens. All the frustration can happen many, many times over. Your customer is now at the point they're ready to buy, but even the smallest hiccup can derail the process. So some examples of some great decision touch points: checkout pages, payment systems, your pricing page or free trial offers. You can start using pieces here like retargeting ads for abandoned carts if you're in e-commerce, or even things like in-store experiences and or even just direct sales calls, especially if you're in the B2B space or service-led businesses. It really does open your eyes to how many different touch points you can have with your client, even just in that decision phase. So what we really want to think about is we want to make this experience better for them. So for me, simplicity is key. Remove the unnecessary steps from things like checkup or sign up process. The fewer clicks it takes is always going to be better. Create that urgency. Offer limited time promotions, discounts, encourage immediate action. A quote I learned a little while ago was kicking people off the ledge, and we want to kick them off the ledge onto the next step. We want to help them make those decisions by creating urgency, by having a simplified process will make that so much easier. And as I mentioned already, but adding those trust signals is so important. Include secure payment badges if you're in e-commerce, money back guarantees, satisfaction assurances, all those pieces to ease those kind of last minute doubts that creep into our consumers' minds. If I give you one quick pro tip, especially if you're in the e-commerce space, if you're losing customers at the checkout, consider offering multiple payment options. So things like PayPal, Apple Pay, buy now, pay later services, Klarnas, those sorts of pieces. That convenience can be a massive deciding factor. And after the sale, the key thing to remember, the customer journey doesn't end, it evolves. Retention and advocacy and the next steps in turning a one-time buyer into a loyal advocate. And keeping that customer is so much more cost-effective than acquiring a new one. And that's why retention is so, so crucial. Some of those types of retention points could be post-purchase emails with thank yous or tips for using the product, customer service interactions, loyalty programs, exclusive offers for returning customers, social media engagement, responding to comments or direct messages, all those sorts of pieces and opportunity. Some of my favorite pieces are, again, in the e-commerce space, but having our package delivered. So not just a standard Amazon package coming through the door, but from a more personalized firm when there's personalized note, there's messages, there's something that's more precise to me. And again, what does it do? it makes me feel more aligned with that brand and where we want to take them. Like I said, in this process, again, it's what can we do to improve that retention rate? And that personalized follow-up to me is the key point where we're going, and especially into 2025 and beyond, where there's tools and elements of AI that we can introduce to be able to really allow us to tailor our communications with our customers or potential customers based on their interactions with us, and how we can just really make sure we're talking directly to them. Things like proactive customer support go above and beyond to resolve any of those sort of issues quickly. There could be a bit of buyer's remorse in that first steps. We want to do our best to remove that as quick as we can. People will always remember great customer service. They might not just talk about it as quickly as they do bad customer service. And things like, and continue to reward those loyalties, like I mentioned earlier on. One thing I like to do, obviously being in the B2B space, is working with using the NPS, Net Promoter Scores. It's a great way to survey to gauge customer satisfactions and identify areas for improvement for it. And we like to ask our customers for that sort of feedback as much as we can. And that you can apply that in any sector and to any space. It's even just asking for simple, small feedback pieces where somebody visits your site, how they engage with something, ask them for the feedback. If it's a lead magnet type piece, again, it's another great touch point. Ask for their feedback. Did this do what we've said it would do? Did it not? Okay, thank you. Let's go and take a process to fix that for you. But most importantly, though, those happy customers don't just stay. They spread the word, and that's what we really, really want. And when customers love your brand, they naturally share their experiences with others. This word of mouth marketing is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. Some examples of what a great advocacy touchpoint could be: positive reviews, Google, Trustpilot, reviews.io, all other tools are available. Social media posts tagging that the product's arrived, or just engagement on LinkedIn, all those sorts of pieces. Again, it's other people talking about your business. And things like referral programs that reward your customers for bringing in friends, referrals, all those sorts of pieces into it. And some of the ways that you can improve that process is directly go and ask for the reviews. Make it easy. Make it so easy for customers to leave feedback. Provide links directly to the relevant pages in post-purchase emails, or if you have a longer working relationship with customers, at certain checkpoints. If it's in the B2B space, long-term contract pieces, 3 months in, yeah, cool, we've done X, Y, Z. How are you feeling about this so far? We feel fantastic, brilliant, we'd love a review. And all those sorts of pieces there will give great opportunities to get those more reviews. And continue to incentivize for things like referrals, discounts, freebies, or other perks for customers who refer friends and family and things like that. You can highlight user-generated content as well, share testimonials, videos, photos, etc. Having that other person, even if you're sharing it, having that other person talk about your products or services is such an avenue to go down. Again, it's somebody else highlighting and becoming an advocate for your brand that the consumer market will absolutely love. One thing to remember is that advocacy just doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of consistently exceeding expectations at every touch point. And now we've explored those key touch points. How do you bring it all together in a cohesive strategy? And that's where the mapping the customer journey comes into play. You can't fix what you can't see. And mapping your customer journey gives you the clarity to create a seamless experience and spot opportunities to improve at every stage. Now that we've explored the stage of the customer journey and the touch points within each, it's time to bring it all together with a powerful exercise: customer journey mapping. Mapping the customer journey, it means visually laying out every interaction your customer has with your brand, from the moment they first discover you to the point where they become advocates. The process is about more than just identifying gaps. It's about uncovering opportunities to create standout experiences that build trust and drive conversions. So I'm going to take you through a quick step-by-step on how you can map your customer journey. So firstly, define your customer personas. I think there's another podcast for another day, but your customer personas, they're essentially detailed profiles of your target audience. They help you see the world from your customer's eyes, making your journey map more accurately and even more actionable. You can do things like collecting data from customer surveys, interviews, your Google Analytics data to gather insights from your how your audience acts on your current site, things like that. Ask them those sorts of questions and find out what platforms do they use, what are their goals and challenges, why are they working with you, especially when you're going to ask a customer. But what I would say is just don't rely on the assumption. Use real data whenever possible. There's tools like Google Analytics, your CRM platforms, social media insights. They can all bring valuable information. But most importantly, having those conversations with your audience, with your customer base, with your potential customer base, is where the value is truly at. And then once you define those personas, the next step is to map out where and how they interact with your brand. These are the touch points. And you want to identify these by brainstorming with your team, gather your marketing, sales, customer service teams and processes, and compile just that comprehensive list of touch points. Walk in your customer's shoes. Go through that buying process as if you're a customer. That can really help you understand and reveal some of those interactions you may have completely overlooked. One quick line, analytical data. I won't delve in it too much more because we know I'll get lost in it, but use those tools like analytics. Identify the key touch points and see where customers are engaging most. Don't forget offline touch points though, especially if you have a brick and mortar presence. Store visits, in-person events, or even the packaging experience can be critical moments in the buying journey. Now we've identified the personas and the touch points, it's time to bring it all together in a visual format. And that's how we create the customer journey. So choose your format, flowcharts, diagrams, sticky notes on a whiteboard. If you're tech savvy, try some tools like Canva, Lucidchart, Miro. I love Miro these days. They're great for creating those absolutely professional looking maps. And then break it down into those 5 stages we discussed earlier on: awareness, consideration, decision, retention, advocacy, just as your framework. And then include in each of those key details. For each touch point, document what happens at this stage. What is the customer's goal or emotion? Are they confused, excited, frustrated? And what metrics can you use to measure success? Imagine mapping the journey of a first-time buyer for a skincare brand. They see an Instagram ad highlighting your best-selling serum, and they visit your website and read the product reviews. They add the serum to the cart, but hesitate at the shipping costs. So after purchase, they receive a thank you email with tips on using the serum, and they post a glowing review on Instagram and tagging your brand. Remember to make your map as detailed as possible, but keep it easy to read. Use color coding, symbols to highlight areas where customers are thriving or dropping off. Once your map is complete, it's time to analyze it. Look for areas where your customer experience could be improved or where your customers might be falling through the cracks. Some of the common gaps to look for are high drop-off rates at certain stages, inconsistent messaging across platforms, long delays in responding to customer inquiries, missing follow-ups after key interactions like purchases. And how do you fix those gaps? Prioritize the biggest pain point. Start with those gaps that have the highest impact on conversions or customer satisfaction. Test the new strategies. For example, if customers are abandoning their carts, try sending a follow-up with a discount code. Change the discount code. And there's so many different layers that you can run down with it. Well, as I mentioned earlier on though, gather that feedback. Use those customer surveys or focus groups or conversations with the remainder of the business to identify those pain points that you know you've missed. And last but not least, make sure you're monitoring and updating on a regular basis. You want to schedule in the reviews, you want to utilize new data, adapt to business changes, and ultimately treat your map as a guide, not as a rule book. The goal is to use it to inform your strategy and continuously improve. Understanding your customer's journey is the foundation of building better relationships, improving conversions, and delivering exceptional experiences. So let's recap. The customer journey, it matters so much. Every step your customer takes, from discovering your brand to becoming an advocate, shapes their perception of your entire business. Without a clear understanding of this journey, you're operating in the dark, the complete dark, and missing valuable opportunities to connect and convert. Those key touch points to shape the experience. At every stage, we want those specific touch points to play the crucial roles. By optimizing those interactions, you can ensure your customers have an absolutely seamless, positive experience with your brand. And mapping the journey, it unlocks the insights. Visually mapping that out, as I mentioned, my favorite is Miro, but you can identify those gaps, highlight those strengths, and create a roadmap for improvement. And here's how to take what we've discussed today and put it into action this week. Identify your personas. Who are your customers? What do they care about? Pick one stage to focus on. Don't try to optimize the entire journey. Choose one stage, just the decision stage, and map out its key touch points. Measure the results. You need to track those key metrics to see how your changes impact that customer experience. For example, monitor conversion rates or customer feedback. Just focus on a certain few key metrics to begin with. And don't forget, if you have a team, share your journey map with your entire team. Collaboration will always reveal the insights you have missed and ensures everyone is aligned on that customer experience strategy. If today's lesson, let's call it a lesson because I definitely just said the wrong words. If today's episode, if it resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you learned about your customer journey or one area you're excited to improve? Let's keep the conversation going. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just Rob Curtis. I'm always so excited to hear about your insights and answer your questions. And if you don't already, Please don't forget to subscribe to Marketing Unzipped on your favorite podcast platforms. Each week, we dive into actionable strategies to help you grow your business, simplify your marketing, and connect with your audience. Until next time, I'm Rob Curtis, and this has been Marketing Unzipped. Remember, great marketing isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter for both you and your customers. Cheers.